hear this all the time. I understand it's good for you, but I can't do it. Sorry, I can't clear my mind. Well, you will only be clearing your mind, ladies and gentlemen, when A, you are enlightened, if that's even a thing, or B, you're dead. The point is not to clear your mind, which is impossible. The point is to focus the mind for nanoseconds at a time, get lost, start again, get lost, start again. And so I think the artwork around meditation should look a little something like this. I wanted this to be the cover of my book. My publishers thought it was too arty. I can also give you my spiel about publishers. So pretty quickly after starting to meditate, I started to notice two big benefits in my life. I'm talking about just weeks. The first benefit I noticed was focus. The daily exercise of sitting down, trying to focus on my breath, getting lost, starting over, getting lost, starting over, really helped me stay on task in a stressful job. I think we all have stressful lives. I'm not going to argue that my life is uniquely stressful, but I think it is reasonably stressful. One of the interesting features of my job is that I actually have other people's voices piped directly into my head. And I need to get my facts straight and my grammar in line very quickly in front of large audiences with reasonably high stakes and on very, very tight deadlines. As I said, that exercise of trying to focus, getting lost, starting over, getting lost, starting over, really helped me stay on task in a pretty stressful environment. But it was the second skill, it's the second benefit that started to emerge for me over the weeks and months after I started meditating. It was truly a game changer, and it's this word mindfulness, which has become a bit of a buzz phrase. I fear that often it's used without really explaining what it is. It is an ancient term, it has a lot of meanings, but here's a very simple, serviceable definition of mindfulness. It is the ability to know what's happening in your head right now without getting carried away by it. I'm going to say this again because this is the only actually important thing I'm going to say today. Mindfulness is the skill of knowing what's happening in your cabeza right now without necessarily taking the bait and acting on it. So how do you generate this? How do you develop this skill while meditating? So as I said before, the goal is trying to focus on your breath, and then thoughts rush in. And what do you do in that moment? Instead of following the thoughts, which you will do a certain amount, you will develop the skill of just noticing, oh, these are just thoughts. This is sorrow. This is boredom. This is self-pity. This is planning. And you just notice, okay, these are just some thoughts that are passing through my head, but they don't have any necessarily connection to reality. And I'm going to let them go and start again. And in that way, you develop a different relationship to the contents of your consciousness, which, as stated before, are most of the time yanking you around. So, how will this work in practice, you might ask? That's a picture of Starbucks. Let's imagine the following situation. You're online at Starbucks, and somebody cuts you off. Generally speaking, how does that scenario go for you internally? I think for most of us, it goes something like this. You have a thought, uninvited, I'm pissed. And then what happens next? You automatically, reflexively, habitually inhabit that thought. You actually become pissed. There's no barrier, there's no buffer between the stimulus and your blind reaction to it. With meditation on board, with a little mindfulness, you might be able to notice in that moment, oh, my chest is buzzing. My ears are turning red. I'm having a starburst of self-righteous thoughts. I'm getting angry. But you don't necessarily need to take the bait and act on it and scream at this person with your kids there thinking you've lost your mind. It's a little bit, this is just a rough analogy, it's a little bit like that picture-in-picture feature on your television where you press a button and all of a sudden